see the interaction between Trump and?
Yes, I've had.
What is your reaction to that?
Well, first and foremost, and my reaction is the same than when you asked me the question before I saw the interaction. First and foremost, we believe in supporting Ukraine. Our position has not changed. We think Ukrainians are fighting for their own freedoms, but also fighting for ours. And we know that President Putin has no red lines, and he is, if we don't have a good deal for Ukraine, if we're not supporting Ukraine, there's a real risk that President Putin will go back to Russia, rearm and reinvade Ukraine, which would become, again, a security threat for Ukraine, of course, but for NATO. And when we are talking about NATO, we're talking about us, of course. Now, what I would add to that is clearly the Russians are noting the interaction that happened today. And so our goal is to make sure that we can continue to support Ukrainians and that we can keep very strong G7 unity amidst all this unpredictability and sometimes even chaos.
How concerned are you that Trump and Starmer didn't talk about Canada, and what would you like to see from Canada's allies, in particular Commonwealth countries, when it comes to that issue?
So I've been in contact with many of my counterparts in the UK, including the Foreign Minister David Lammy and the National Security Advisor Jonathan Powell this morning. No country on earth will be able to divide Canada and UK. Why? Because we're close, because of our history, because of our people, because of our trade. It is just in our DNA to be close to the UK. And so I'm confident that we will be able to continue this strong partnership between Canada and the UK on full display. And at the same time, we need to work together on addressing the unpredictability that is coming out of the White House. And that is why I was there earlier this week. And we're working on finding ways to work on counter tariffs, should there be tariffs imposed, and also on having strong security alliances, including on intelligence sharing.
Minister Scott Bessent from the US administration has just said in the last few minutes that it would be good if Canada would join the US tariffing China on more goods. Would Canada be open to that?
So we already have tariffs that are imposed on key components that are coming from China, and including also electric vehicles. When it comes to the US and their own concerns, we're able to have conversations. We are very open to have also trade related conversation, including when it comes to China. And so I'm convinced that I will be able to have these conversations with the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, and also the Minister of Finance, Dominic LeBlanc, will be able to talk to Scott Bessent about it. But fundamentally, what we have said to the Trump administration is we will never accept any form of tariffs against us. And if tariffs are against us, we will fight back. And we are the only country on the planet that has said we will come up with $155 billion worth of tariffs and a first tranche of $30 billion, which is actually of listed goods. Yeah.
Is it important that you maybe agree a metric of success with the US to end this eventually?
What we've learned through all these different conversations and negotiations is we need to engage, and we'll continue to do that in a very pragmatic way. And that's why I was speaking with Lindsey Graham this morning. That's why I'm in contact with Marco Rubio, and many of my colleagues are doing that same work. But fundamentally, at the end of the day, we know that the deal will be struck between the Prime Minister and the President. And that's why we need to make sure that we get all that information. But fundamentally, at the end of the day, the only deal is between the President and the Prime Minister. So when we are having conversations with the Americans, we know that any other subject can be on the table. But the main subjects that are on the table are the ones presented by the President.